On to you, Morten, and some questions related to the infrastructure side of things. Now we heard about science diplomacy, indigenous knowledge. So how can research stations foster more interdisciplinary collaboration between scientists, policymakers, and indigenous groups?
Yeah, there's a long answer to that question. I think I will start to say that the Arctic is boiling. I've had the opportunity for the last 3 years to travel all the way around Greenland at a very slow pace, being able to watch what is going on. And despite the fact that I'm educated in understanding landscapes, I've seen landscapes that I never have seen before. And on some of these journeys, I actually brought along people who had never been in Arctic areas, and even among them they said there's something wrong here. You know, they could see it 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. We needed kind of before and after pictures to illustrate that the climate is changing and the glaciers are receding. That's not necessary anymore. It's just like you could say walking into a horror movie. At the same time, there's of course a lot of geopolitical tensions in the world, and they are, you could say, progressing currently, and that also have effects to the Arctic. These are global geopolitical challenges, but we sometimes forget that the potential for solving them are actually in the Arctic. Still, I would say that there are some attention, and you know, perhaps mainly at the geopolitical level, or not the political level. So both national and international funding agencies, they cry for local and indigenous involvement in research projects, but without much success. The scientists, I feel it's very depressing what I'm saying, but you know, the solution comes later on. The scientists try hard, but they don't really know how to do it. The distance to the people they are expected to cooperate with is too long, both geographically, culturally, and mentally. And then it ends up with the local indigenous people being zodiac drivers to just secure a little bit of involvement. In fact, during my many years as leader of research stations in Greenland, I've noticed that the only time scientists really realize that they need the local expertise is when they are going to do sampling on very thin sea ice. Then they realize that there's another way of understanding sea ice, and they end up hiring in local hunters to help. This is not to blame the scientists. Cultural differences are just not easy to overcome. And it's really a pity that it is like that. There's an extreme potential of very easily accessible knowledge about the Arctic among the people living there. Of course it is like that. Like finding your way around in Brussels. It's also difficult if you haven't been here before. In Impact, we consider research stations as perfect mediators of this cooperation. The research stations, they are situated in local communities, and they have staff already working together with both indigenous and local community and the science community. They meet local people at private occasions and even in the supermarket, and they work together with them. The perfect way, if not the only way, to overcome the cultural difference and establishing cooperation based on equity. That is what we want in our new project hour, an abbreviation of observing, understanding, and responding. I think I told this earlier. In this project, we will find sustainable solutions on very concrete challenges in communities in the Arctic, in cooperation between indigenous and local people and scientists, with research stations as local mediators and knowledge hubs. They can do it because they know both communities. We have just submitted an application for approximately 58 Norwegian kroner to Nordforsk, and we hope to be able to start up that project in the summer of 2025. And I think that was what I wanted to answer, how I wanted to answer this question.
So the solution out here is to make sure that long-term relationships are built up. So So the trust is there, and the collaboration is something that goes on for longer with shared objectives and goals and discussion about how to gather the knowledge, what methodologies, and everybody involved in analysis and recommendations coming out of it.
Yeah, sure. And I think the most difficult thing, I've been working on establishing interdisciplinary science through many years, and actually noticed the most difficult part of it is to overcome cultural differences. There are also cultural differences between different science disciplines and stuff like that. And when you first overcome these cultural differences, then it's much easier to cooperate. And I actually think one of the big advantages in a project like Interact has been that from the beginning we have considered ourselves as a group of friends. And once you are friends, then it's much easier to cooperate than if you are people who don't understand each other and don't really know how to learn to understand each other. Yeah, you need somebody to help you with that. And the research stations could be mediators in that process.
That takes us right nicely to my next question to you and last. So what are the biggest challenges facing Arctic research stations today, and how can they be overcome? Can you say a few words about that with your experience and running the network of stations in Interact?
Yeah, I think actually that the research stations themselves, they are running pretty good. They're in good shape currently. There's a lot of focus on the Arctic and a lot of research grants for Arctic research. And research stations can be considered just as, you could say, hotels, just having replaced the swimming pools with laboratories. So when there's a lot of research grants for going to the Arctic, then there's also a lot of guests for the research stations, and then they are doing good. I was leading until a year ago a research station in West Greenland, and we had a capacity for 26 beds, but we needed to extend the capacity to 39 guests. So you could say that that's a kind of positive effect of climate change, at least to the research stations. But I actually think what is needed the most is money for networking the research stations, to establish consistent and harmonized gathering of both scientific and indigenous and local knowledge, to be used as basic ground truthing data for circumarctic studies, as the data needed to access concrete challenges and opportunities, and as input to different models for foreseeing future climate, but also to foresee the effects of climate change on ecosystems and society. And INPA could play a huge role in this. We have 74 research stations in the Arctic, 95 before the war in Ukraine, and all these stations are more than ready to take responsibility in relation to become the individual nodes of such a circumarctic observatory.